Hello, I'm Asuma Kataoka and you're watching another episode of Explained on NewsX World. Japan's Prime Minister Japan Takaichi has called for snap elections on the 8th of February. She has dissolved the parliament in late January, just 3 months into her tenure, making this one of the shortest campaigns in post-war Japanese history. Takaichi has been campaigning across Japan, from Tokyo's central districts to outer regions, often delivering speeches from campaign trucks surrounded by supporters wielding small flags. Her rallies have drawn large crowds, with social media trends showing particular popularity among young voters, some gatherings being in the hundreds or thousands. Takaichi is contesting as the leader of the Liberal Democratic Party, also known as the LDP. The LDP is contesting alongside its coalition partner, the Japan Innovation Party, or ISHIN as it is known. Polls indicate their coalition could win roughly 300 of the 465 lower house seats, a strong mandate relative to the thin majority they currently hold. The opposition includes several groups, but none has gained nearly the same level of traction. They range from centrist parties to smaller left-of-center groups looking to challenge the LDP's long-standing dominance. This election follows years of political change. Since former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated in 2022, Abe had been a dominant figure in Japanese politics, and his death led to successive leaders who struggled to match his level of consistent support. Whereas Takaichi has emerged as a conservative successor with strong internal party support, positioning herself as someone who can steady the party and provide clear leadership. What has set this race apart globally is the unusual move by US President Donald Trump to publicly endorse Takaichi and her coalition in the final days of the campaign. Trump wrote on his social media platform that he gives his complete and total endorsement of her and her coalition, praising her leadership and saying she truly loves her country. He has also announced he looks forward to hosting her at the White House on March 19th if she secures a strong victory. While Trump's endorsement is extraordinary because American presidents traditionally refrain from directly backing candidates in foreign elections. Therefore, his support here is widely seen as part of a broader strategic push to ensure that Tokyo maintains close alignment with Washington on economic and security issues, especially in the context of countering China's influence in Asia. Analysts note that Trump sees Japan as a key partner in U.S. plans to strengthen allied cooperation on defense, supply chains, and trade, as China's military and economic power continues to grow. This kind of direct endorsement is unusual for American presidents and signals a high level of strategic importance attached to the outcome of this Japanese election. This election's global dimension emerges against the backdrop of geopolitical supply chain issues. Japan plays a critical role in the global semiconductor supply chain. It remains a leader in supplying key materials, equipment, and providing essential technology that enables semiconductor manufacturing worldwide. Japanese firms account for a significant share of global semiconductor equipment and material supplies, which is almost 1/3 of global equipment sales. And Japan is a major supplier of silicon wafers, photoresists, and other essential components. Recently, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, the world's largest chipmaker, announced plans to reduce advanced 3-nanometer chips in Japan as part of a long-term expansion. This movement bolsters Japan's role in a global industry dominated by AI-driven demand, showing Japan not just as a material or equipment supplier, but as a location for cutting-edge chip fabrication. On the rare earth front, Japan is acting to reduce the reliance on China, which dominates processing and exports of many important rare earth elements used in batteries, magnets, military technology, and semiconductor manufacturing. Tokyo has invested in deep-sea mineral retrieval and advocated with allies to diversify supply chains to buffer against Chinese export restrictions. Thus, Japan's domestic politics and who leads it directly connects to global technology supply chains and strategic supply security. So why did Trump make this endorsement? First, Takaichi is leading Japan in making decisions that align with priorities important to Washington that includes deepening economic and security cooperation with the United States as well as addressing challenges posed by China. Xi and Trump met in Tokyo last October, where both leaders signed agreements around cooperation, including efforts to secure supply chains for critical minerals and rare earths, resources critical to advanced technology, clean energy, and defense systems. Second is that Trump's statements at home highlighted his impression of her leadership and Japan's role in a strong U.S.-Japan alliance, praising her as someone who truly loves her country and who has been impressive during U.S.-Japan engagements. While Takaichi's platform also includes populist economic measures, such as suspending certain taxes to counter rising prices, it is her firm stance on security, economics, and Japan's global role that has drawn attention from policymakers in Washington. Her campaign has also been marked by high approval ratings despite economic uncertainties. What could a victory for Takaichi mean? If Takaichi and her coalition secure a stronger mandate as expected, polls indicate they could win well above a simple majority. This could consolidate support for continued U.S.-Japan cooperation on economic security and supply chain resilience. It would likely satisfy Trump's priorities for deeper alignment on issues such as critical minerals, semiconductors, and regional security. For Trump, having a like-minded leader in Tokyo could strengthen his ability to push collective action to counter Chinese dominance in these sectors, and might help his broader global agenda of building strategic alliances on his terms. But what if other contenders win? While polls suggest Takaichi's LDP coalition is favored, this race is not without downside risks. A victory by other parties that could shift Japan's priorities towards a less aggressive foreign alignment in supply chain strategies. This could reduce the certainty of U.S.-Japan coordination on long-term projects such as joint investment in semiconductor or capacity or critical minerals diversification. For Trump, a loss or diminished mandate for Takaichi could undercut his ability to shape U.S.-Japan policy coherence. It might force his administration to refocus strategic efforts through multilateral fora or build other bilateral relationships to offset Japan's shift. So what does this mean for the world? The outcome of this election will influence not just Japan's domestic policy, but global supply chains, trade relations, and geopolitical balance. In technology and industry, Japan's role in semiconductor materials and equipment, as well as its partnership with TSMC in advanced chip production, makes it a central player in global supply security. Any shift in Japan's domestic policies could affect global prices, availability, and innovation clouds in high-tech sectors. In critical minerals, reducing dependence on China remains a priority for Tokyo and its allies. Japan's domestic efforts, along with coordination with the United States and G7 countries, are part of a broader strategic trend to secure supply resilience in rare earths and other vital elements. This is why an election in Tokyo resonates far beyond national borders. That's all for this episode of Xplained. Stay tuned as we bring you more in-depth insights and stories that matter.